and welcome to Art Inspiration with VKH. I'm Veronica, the V in the VKH. I have been an amateur artist for 4 years, the last 2 years focusing on watercolor. And I have been a teacher and I work in education for the last 24 years. So I love teaching and I love art, so welcome to my channel and welcome to Art with me. Okay, so this video is going to be all about, okay, you've got your supplies, you're ready to get started. Well, now what do you do? Especially if you have a new paint kit or new paint kits. So I actually got 2 new paint kits for Christmas. I'm recording this in January, right after Christmas. And so what I'm going to do first is I have this one that comes in the metal case like this, and it has little tiny cakes of watercolor paint. It comes with a swatch card that looks like this, but I don't like to rely on this because if you've ever been to a paint store or even been to like a nail salon or something and you've looked at their paint swatch, this is called a swatch, sometimes it doesn't always match what the paints are, right? So in watercolor, we like to make our own because that way you'll be able to actually see what the color does. So this paint swatch actually matches the colors on here, and I was able to verify it with this. So this will match this green will match, and so on and so on. So I'm kind of excited about that to see what will happen. So anyway, and then I'm also going to show you how do you make a paint swatch if you have watercolor tubes of paint. So the first thing that I always do when I get ready to do this is I make sure that I have my 2 cups of water. And so I just use these little plastic cups that look like this. So I have 2 cups of water. I always want to have a clear one and then one that I can dirty. And then whenever I get ready to mix my paints to start, I like to use these 2 brushes. This is a 4 and this is a size 6. I like the ones that show you on this so you can see what it looks like. The tips are a little bit thicker. They have a point to them. I think they do a really great job. And I'm just going to, I always maybe add 2 drops of paint. Some people like to use a spray, like a water spray bottle, but I really just like to use this. And then you can already see that it's starting to, and then you just blend it onto the paper. This is called the wet on dry technique. The paper is dry, but the paint is wet. So this is called wet on dry, and that's going to tell me, oh, that color looks like that. And then I just clean my brush and I go to the next one and I just swirl it, swirl, 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 swirl. And then again, use my wet on dry paper technique, and then I can make my swatch that way. It's actually, at first I thought it was going to be kind of stupid to do this, but it's kind of therapeutic. So sometimes just making a swatch is also extremely fun. And it also will teach you, oh, okay, so I swirled it, I used that much water. This is what's going to be on my paper. Also, you can kind of, okay, let's do the next one. Oh, and this is why I always have paper towels. I always talk about having paper towels. I don't know if you can see them though. I don't think you can. See my little paper towel over here? I always have paper towels just in case I need to blot anything. Make sure I really got all that paint off my brush. That's what the paper towel is for. Okay, so then this brush is a little bit thinner. So now let's try this yellow. Oh yeah. And that brush, actually I like this brush a little bit better because it doesn't get quite as much paint on it. Okay, so that is how you make your swatch, and you just keep going through the whole entire thing. And let me show you how to do it with a tube of watercolor because it's very similar. So, and almost all your kits are going to come with a blank piece of paper that you can use to make a swatch. If it doesn't, you can just make your own swatch by either using a ruler and drawing lines or even using tape to tape off in a grid works great. Okay, so scarlet red with a tube, it's going to be a little bit different. There's going to be a little bit of paint right in your cap, and I'm just going to get my brush wet but not soaked, and I'm just going to do a little tiny dollop, and oh yeah, And that is enough. And that way I didn't have to dip into the tube of paint itself. And you're like, oh, that's a little light. Like I could always add another layer if I wanted to really see what it looks like. And you can see the texture is totally different than the cake of paint. So it kind of gives you an idea also of, maybe I like these better, or maybe I just am happy with the cakes. But that's what you do with your paints to get started. You go through and you make a swatch of every single color. So don't leave anything blank, do all of it, and that will get you to your next starting point. The reason that this is important is because once I am ready to do a painting and I've got my watercolor paper, if I don't have my swatch, I actually won't know exactly what each of these is going to look like. And so this is going to tell me the color I'm going to want on the painting. So that's why this is so super duper important. So have fun with your swatches, and then I'll see you in the next video.